Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Waiting for UO. We plug the gap between the advertised and the actual. Sadly, no Poe in the house tonight, but
Right.
Radical Liberation, how are you doing?
Hi, very good. I just had Thanksgiving end of last week.
I was very aware of Thanksgiving. I think I was just around a lot of Americans, but it was good to be reminded to be thankful.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I probably never told you. I guess I call you Luke now. Yeah,
yes,
that's new. That's new.
Is out and about, and I'm happy about this.
Good.
I hope it's not too much of an adjustment because, after all, Lambda and Luke are quite similar sounding, right?
Easy slide. Yeah. Lambda Luke sounds like a hero name, but anyway.
Yes.
He comes riding over the hill, Lambda Luke. Anyway, yeah. So my dad, was a pastor. I haven't talked that much to you about him, but he had a little booklet. He took one of his sermons or a couple of his sermons. Anyway, he made this little booklet. It was all about thankfulness, and he would just get in conversations with people, and that's one of the things he'd share with them, because people would find it. It sort of fit into sort of like a self-help kind of mode in a way. It's sort of a nice segue. It's like, no, thankfulness is just good for your mentality. It's just good for your brain, your psyche to be in that mode, but then, that leads you to whom are you thankful ultimately, right? So anyway, that's the Thanksgiving thing. Well, what I'm thankful for about Thanksgiving, besides, of course, having my large family and some guests and hosting Thanksgiving and pulling it off and all that, is that I discovered cheese pie, which I had never even heard of. I'd never even heard of it. I was so excited. We were at the Christmas tree farm that we go to every year, and we pick a tree from the field and saw it down, and they had a food truck, and they were featuring various pies, and I saw that cheese pie. Now, not only was it new to me, but I really like dessert. I have an article on dessert, which I should share with everyone. But anyway,
is it a sweet pie?
Yes, that's right. But it's the kind of sweet pie that I think my European friends could get along with better, because it is not overly sweet. It is a much more subtly sweet. The lady that I got it from who made it described it as a cross between like a cheese Danish and a cheesecake. I think those make it sound a little sweeter than it actually ended up being. I quite like it, but it's a little more subtle. And you have to like a sweet cheese kind of thing. And I do everything custard and cheese I love. So
the two varieties of cheesecake, the baked and the unbaked cheesecake. Are you aware of these?
Oh, yes. No? We had the unbaked because my father-in-law does that. I do not do very much cooking. But the one thing I do is I make a proper from scratch baked cheesecake for Christmas every year. And my family absolutely loves it.
So where does cheese pie sit in the cheese dessert universe? It's another constellation unconnected. It doesn't resemble it in flavor.
Let's see if I can pull this off. Here's a piece of cheese pie. Okay, wait. If I get in front of me, the green screen keeps picking.
It doesn't look like an item of food from our sort of solar system. What does it taste like?
It's floating. Yeah,
Can you identify the types of cheese? Are we talking Philadelphia?
I don't have the recipe. I should have gotten it from the lady. She said it took her years to track it down. So if anyone has a cheese pie recipe, please send it to me at twitter.com/radicalweb.
I've never heard of it. When you first mentioned it, I was imagining that you had a thin an outside of pastry around just pure cheddar cheese, and you'd just be chewing on giant chunks of cheese. So this sounds more edible.
Yeah, no, it's anyway. So that's that. The topic of the show. Oh, don't you usually share the screen and share the thing?
There's a button for it.
There we go.
There we go.
So this is Eric.
There's this one as well.
And do you know about this French stuff? It's E with a little thing over it. I don't know what that's supposed to do with the pronunciation. Anyway,
no, I think they add adornments based on their mood, as far as I can tell. In France.
Right, that's right. It's a Chad marker, maybe. It shows that it's Chad Eric. Anyway, so Eric with a little thing over his E. Did he actually get it right in the title? He did. Look at the UO title. You get Eric Zemmour. I'm guessing he is a candidate just announced his candidacy candidacy for the presidency of France. The reason why that's interesting is that Zemmour is got some positions that are, say, not globo homo. He's pretty strong on anti-immigration. You know,
is this a serious run, or is this one of these kind of the long tail of hopefuls after the two main parties have said their piece?
It's a little unclear to me which category it is, but certainly he gets attention, including a bit of scandal around him, which in France might help him. I don't know. I don't know if it hurts or helps. So
how long?
I'm not hearing you, Lambda. Okay, sorry. Give me a sec. Oh, okay. He's had to rejoin. Anyway, hi. Oh no! Now it's zoomed out, and you can see the part of my. There we go. Okay, are you back?
I don't know what happened there.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you froze, but I'm okay.
Great. I'm going to bring back up. Waiting for you. No, I'm bringing back up the stream in case we. I mean, It would be a travesty if they started Unpopular Opinions and we were still broadcasting here, holding captive our current audience. That's just not good.
Which should be,
the height of bad manners.
Should be most of the people waiting, ideally. In fact, I think I've got
people in chat are struggling with my new name or my original name. And I there's a few of us now, aren't there? There's people don't know whether to call you Stephen. People don't know whether to call Oliver Semiagog. It is quite confusing.
Yeah, I know. And then what about when you meet in person? And you're used to referring to each other with sort of these screen names. Do you switch whenever you're in person, and then you switch back when you're chatting online? It's very confusing.
Perhaps Lambda could be my nickname amongst these circles. That's the way to think about it. Like Radlib is
people continue to call me Radlib, and they're comfortable with that, and I'm comfortable with it too. It helps that I picked the name Radical Liberation like decades ago. I actually own the domain radicalliberation.com and have owned it for a long time.
Let me check if lambda.com is available. What do you reckon?
Yeah, good point. I doubt it. That would be amazing if you could grab that. Yeah, but Lambda Luke, lambdaluke.com.
Lambda Luke probably is available.
I bet you could get that. Yeah.
There is a thing called domain name squatting, isn't there, where you just buy up as much potential future valuable names as you can to then sell it at high price when an entrepreneur comes along. Okay. My browser is refusing to load lambda.com, so I can neither confirm nor deny whether it already exists. What else is in the title? Twitter bans raw footage. This is something about you're not allowed to broadcast people without their permission or something.
Oh, what? Oh, is this because of the way that we were able to get through the everybody knew what really happened with Kyle Rittenhouse, and that made them mad that they couldn't control the narrative on that? Because I think it was basically because I remember watching a bunch of footage. I think it was basically people just filming and putting it right on Twitter and everybody looking at it,
I'm not sure left-wing backlash to try to prevent Rittenhouse stuff from happening again is going to work out well, because I think the truth will go against them. Oh, no, I see. Yes. So the truth in Rittenhouse was in our favor, but more often not. Right. Yeah. That's I doubted myself there, but I think I'm right that in this case, anyway, I'm just suspicious in general of anything that Twitter does.
Well, I did not know about them banning raw footage. That is sad, because it's been, I'm sure it's been mixed, right? Because people are like seeing people get killed that they know, and they're finding out through Twitter or something. That's not very good. On the other hand, the narrative control aspect is so terrible. Yeah, it's been interesting watching the left-wing lady that I like so much, Caitlin Johnston in Australia, very concerned about what'll happen at Twitter with the stepping down of Jack, because she said that on YouTube and Facebook you can't get anywhere with like anti-war stuff. They just they use bot algorithms and just shut it down. And she said on Twitter, sometimes we're able to break through. We're able to get a story to kind of snowball and get some attention on, the U.S. empire doing something terrible or whatever. And she says, well, maybe it's going to be the end of that now, because this guy who's taken over Twitter is all about algorithmically scrubbing clean the timeline, So
we will see.
We'll see.
I mean, I think even our continued existence within the confines of Twitter and YouTube may have an effect on making us careful what we say in a negative way. I just think we're living on an enemy turf. Maybe it's good if these things really clamp down, and then we go somewhere where we can.
The challenge is discoverability, right? So let's say we're all on Telegram or Gab or whatever it is. The random guy who might have stumbled upon us and found our stuff interesting, will he find us anymore?
I guess the argument is, do those people really matter as much as we think that they do? Talking of things that we have to step on eggshells around, Omicron.
Yeah, he's bold touching on that.
Yeah.
Does YouTube still? It seems like I haven't seen as much of YouTube kicking people off to talk about things.
No, but I sense in the same way as we're going to see an increase in rules and lockdowns, we might see an increase in online censorship to go along with it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the feeling is different for people living in Australia who've already been under the boot for a while. But in the UK, we've had a time where it's been quite lax, and people have. I've.
Oh no! There goes Lambda again. Let me tell him, and then I'll talk to you guys. Okay, hopefully he can fix that. So narrative control. I was just sharing this thought in one of our private chats, and I thought I'd share it with all of you, which is that, my interest, as you may know, originally was political economy, and that's been sort of an emphasis in my show, but I'm talking about going way back. I started studying economics decades ago, and I'm glad I did. Having said that, the deeper I got into this stuff, the more that I eventually realized that it's all about controlling the historical narrative. That's really where the game is. I was just saying, Luke, the narrative control, the control of historical narrative, that has more and more become a focus of my own attention. And this is not because of knowing AA. This is decades ago that this shift happened. I studied economics and all that, and got into this stuff. And then I realized, wow, what people think about is not determined by like what economists publish in journals typically. What they think about economics, for example, is a story they heard about how the Depression happened almost 100 years ago now, right? I mean, that's what really controls people's ideas about what is possible, what options are on the table, what options are off the table. It's these narratives.
Yes. So the route to understanding the world is to look at history. After all, if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. However, when you go to study history, what you actually do is go and read the writings of historians, which is a pre-selected narrativized version of events, which means actually, if you want to know how the world works, look at history means go and just understand the received wisdom, the correct opinion as presented to you by whoever's already in charge.
Absorb the official narrative, and everything will go fine, and we won't repeat any mistakes from the past. Sounds like a great plan, right? Which
was always the strength of Austrian economics, that it was based on first principles and doesn't rely on observations of this happened historically, so therefore we can trust it.
Mhm.
You can sit
The
in a
theory,
room by
yeah.
yourself and work out the theory.
Right.
And you can also go and dig into history to confirm that the
Right.
things that you think in theory should happen do, but actually there's a deeper, more solid ground for it all.
Certainly, we have found, I mean, this is part of the red pilling process, as they call it, right? We have found that the more you dig for yourself and try to get past the received narrative and look into some details, check into some details yourself, the more you go, oh, that's not exactly what happened. Now, it's not always like the opposite of what happened, but enough context is stripped out or made up such that as you start to form your own opinions, you start to feel deceived in short, right?
Yeah. And the question is, I think that the big question is, does anybody control the narrative, or
it's a social
or is everybody
quasi-social process?
Yeah, is everybody caught within their own myopic small bubble, and the truth that emerges, or the story that emerges is emergent, is just the result of lots of people slightly lying or slightly being misled, and then or is it a grand plan?
Well, AA is gonna at this point would say something like it's emergent, bro, right? Sarcastically. Yeah. I mean, this is another thing we find as we dig into revisionist history, is that the received narrative, someone pushed it and they had a purpose for pushing it, right? Now, that doesn't mean they always succeed. Sometimes they try things out, and we should come up with more examples where they fail. It might encourage us. Sometimes they throw a narrative out there and it just does not fly. Nobody's buying it. Right?
I don't think it would be difficult. There's a million. Oh, are we going? Okay.
Yeah.
Catch you next week, everybody. Enjoy Unpopular Opinions.
Bye.
Bye.